Ladies and gentlemen, EA is back in the hot seat for today. We're going to go over an article from Game Rant talking about how some U.S. senators are pointing out the potential national security risk from this EA acquisition, notably from the PIF as one of the three investment groups that are investing into acquiring EA. It being an outside entity, it dropping billions of dollars, and it also slowly growing and starting to more or less start grabbing up other interesting things regarding the gaming sector. Notably, it is still Nintendo's biggest outside investor. They nonetheless want to take a look at to see if this is going to be an issue. This is going to be a national security issue. Again, the EA deal is not done yet. It is still need to be approved and signed off by the U.S. government in order for it to continue ahead. It is just put forth its plans and put forth, it's got basically everything from their end for the OKs, for all the money, for the purchasing and all that stuff. That is done and that is approved. Next, the U.S. government needs to take a look at it and be like, okay, sure, this can go ahead. They need to take a look at if this is going to be anti-consumer, if this is going to be anti-competitive, all sorts of things, or whether or not this is a potential national security risk. So we're going to take a look at a Game Rant article real quick to see what new developments have developed for this, because again, this is going to go on until, what did we say, until about summer, about the end of June next year. So a lot of information is going to develop over the story as it progresses. So, two U.S. senators have penned a letter speaking out against EA's recent buyout, saying it presents national security risks. The deal made waves across the industry as soon as news broke that it was even a possibility. And now that the company has confirmed it, it has taken long. It hasn't taken long to catch the government's attention. I mean, it was going to eventually. The future of the EA acquisition may now be a bit murkier. I would say yes, but it was already murky to begin with. As soon as something like this was presented, it really didn't go anywhere to begin with. It just put everyone on notice this is going to happen, provided everything goes according to plan. Begs the question if everything is actually going to go according to plan. In late September, we already knew this. In 2025, EA confirmed it was going to do it was going private in a $55 billion deal, making the largest leveraged buyout in history. Leveraged buyout, so a lot of debt. Not just within the gaming industry, should regulators approve, the video game giant will be 100% owned by a private investor group, including private equity funds Silver Lake, Affinity Partners, and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. While this isn't the first time the PIF has invested heavily in a gaming company, its involvement in the deal quickly drew scrutiny from some officials. Naturally, this kind of makes sense. If they're dropping billions of dollars from a foreign government, doesn't matter which, but from a foreign government into an American one, there comes with certain, fears. Whether or not this particular government, this particular country is going to start pushing its own ideology into a foreign market, and that could have some major issues. Another issue is whether or not this foreign government is going to start taking a look under the hood of all the information that this particular company has gathered. We know gaming companies do save information on its users. To what sort of extent, base financial information or all sorts of stuff like that. There is a possibility for that, and whether or not they're going to have access to that. So there's a little bit of fear when it comes to certain companies or certain governments being involved in this particular way. So it honestly makes a little bit of sense. A letter penned by Senators Richard Blumenthal and Elizabeth Warren to Scott Bessent of the U.S. Secretary of Treasury cited profound concern about the foreign influence and national security risks, like we just talked about, of the EA deal. The warning centered around how the PIF would become EA's majority shareholder, so they would nonetheless have the biggest cut of the pie, and could potentially use that position to gain influence, to insert influence, to gain back and forth. To back up the claim, the senators point out to the deal's size in relation to the company's volatile performance. And we can take a look at this a lot more in depth probably in a future video. EA as a company has not done, I don't want to say they haven't done financially well, but I would say perceived wellness from the gaming market, significantly less so. And I think financially they have not done significantly well. A little bit further down, the gaming giant has faced some financial challenges in the past year, with EA losing $6 billion in stock value. And that's important to really point out. Their stock price may have dipped, but that's just the value of the company that's just the value of the company going down. That is not them specifically losing money. It's what is it? I know the term off the top of my head, but it's not coming to mind. But nonetheless, that is a major thing to consider, but that's not a huge like gut punch or gut check. And the letter claims these trends suggest the buyout is more about influencing audiences rather than making money. So the issue that I also kind of have with this idea of a foreign entity like this coming into an American business to own it is to try to push influence in a way, and you guys can extrapolate that as you see fit. The issue I kind of have with that is that if someone tries to do that with a company, specifically in video games right now, so we're talking IPs that have stories, that have characters, developments, story arcs, and all that stuff, and they're trying to push an ideology or an agenda or propaganda or something like that. If it doesn't gel with the audience that it's trying to push to, then we just cut it out. Now more than any other time, I would say in gaming history, people need to take a look at what they're spending their money on and be like, do I really want to support this financially? Yes, gaming market, billions, trillions of dollars probably over the course of history. A lot of money goes in and out of stuff, but you can't just blanketly, I guess, buy everything that you always wanted. You need to take a look at, whether or not you do approve of whether or not this game is good. Not just in a entertainment sort of value, but whether or not you support what it's trying to push. People need to take a look at stuff. Same deal goes with movies, same deal goes with books, same deal goes with pretty much everything. If a company does something completely stupid and you don't want to support them, then don't. People need to quite literally take a look at what the market is trying to present and see whether or not you really do want to support them in that way. Same deal, you can even drop it to the micro level. Same deal with Twitch streamers, YouTubers, like which channels provide value and content that you want to keep supporting in the future by way of liking a video or subbing to the channel, super chats and whatnot, memberships, Twitch subs, all that stuff. Where you put your money, you are quite literally voting with your dollar. It's always been the case. Gaming is no different. So the issue I have with this is that even if the PIF was trying to push some sort of ideology through the gaming market, through EA in a sense, if it doesn't gel with us, we cut it out. They take a financial hit and we move on. You got to play with the market, not just be a consumer of it in a way. Be smart, be fiscally conservative, be fiscally responsible. More than anything, be responsible with your money. Let's see what else we got. The letter also highlights security concerns about the Saudi Arabian government possibly being able to access sensitive data on EA's audience of millions of gamers. Right. Data privacy is a contentious issue in gaming. It kind of is. I don't save anything on my computer, any financial information, I still use my bank account and stuff like that, but authenticators, all that stuff, I tell my web browsers not to save any personal information. So, be a little bit smart, maybe more on the back end instead of, hopeful wishing that no one's going to do anything stupid. Even though that doesn't completely save me, it's still something, even outside the EA buyout, with Borderlands getting review bombed over its EULA changes earlier this year. I actually did not know that, but they do have kernel level. It might have been like kernel level anti-cheat, but there is kernel level utility that Borderlands put into Borderlands 4. If not, no, I think just Borderlands 4. Someone may have to fact check me on that, but nonetheless, which some users went as far as to call it spyware. I was completely oblivious to that. I totally did not know they put in a EULA change to implement such a thing. Given all the information flowing to gaming companies, it's easy to see where these concerns may arise, although privacy question is not unique to EA or the PIF. That's very true. But that's very interesting about the Borderlands thing. So, yeah, be careful out there. So, yes. Privacy is a question, is a concern a lot of people have, whether or not people are stealing their data or using it for nefarious purposes or just straight up selling it for profit, which is totally a thing. This kind of is part and parcel with being online and being in the gaming community, but nonetheless, it's still something to consider, again, with a foreign entity taking over an American company. So it remains to be seen if this letter will have any effect on the U.S. regulators. I would say kinda. it's something I think that's going to come across their desks anyway, regardless if any senators or congresspeople point it out. But nonetheless, if a lot of people are just like, this is an issue, like if everyone starts submitting some amount of information, how many people have a problem with this, then that may start, making them lean one direction or the other. So, and how the deal will proceed from here. This buyout is also far from the first controversy in gaming industry involving the Saudi government. In 2022, and I think I knew this, but I didn't pay too much attention to it, several Twitch streamers faced backlash over Saudi Arabian sponsorships. Saudi Arabian, the government puts together like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to Twitch streamers for something. You guys can take a look at this article. This is history. This was 3 years ago. But, something similar kind of did happen recently. I believe a lot of comedians went over to the Saudi Arabian, I forget where, but went to Saudi Arabia and performed. And their impetus more or less was maybe the paycheck over other things. I'm not entirely sure what it is. My foreign policy information is not, or foreign affairs, whatever you want to call it or look at it that way, is not completely up to snuff. I do catch some things that are happening, but nonetheless, the Saudi Arabian government loves to drop hard money into other entertainment facets or other facets in general to, I guess, diversify their trillions of dollars, because they do have a lot of money, obvious reasons why. So although the nation's PIF has continued to grow in its presence in gaming, again, notably, it remains one of Nintendo's largest outside investors. Very, very huge. So again, this is an unfolding news bit with the EA acquisition from all three of these, but specifically the PIF, as to whether or not this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing for the American gaming company, or for American gaming in general, or just not even American gaming. I mean, EA is a company that puts games out to all over the world. So it's weird. It's like you have a foreign entity getting involved with an American company that has its tendrils going throughout the entire world. So that could be also another lean that they're trying to go. Not necessarily the American audience, but also the audience of the world. Now, one thing I did not know is that EA, and this goes back to EA's, I guess, financial issues. They did lose their FIFA license recently. I'm not sure. I don't pay attention to sports video games, especially what EA does. It's more or less their subsidiaries I care about. But yeah, Madden, all of those I could care less of. But nonetheless, EA getting this acquisition underway seems like something that may just save them and something that they want to push. Again, they signed off on it. They put the package together. The four of them, EA and the three investors, were just like, yes, let's do this. But again, as this unfolds, it still needs to go through the U.S. government to be approved. Again, for all sorts of reasons. This particular one is just a new one that popped up, which made a lot of sense. Some people in the government, specifically from the Senate or from the House of Representatives, are going to take a look at and be like, this may be an issue, because it is from Saudi Arabia, which is not completely aligned with American ideals, and you can read into that as much as you want. So it is a thing that's going to pop up. It was an inevitable thing that was going to pop up. And whether or not this particular letter is going to start to sway the opinions a little bit, we're going to have to find out and wait and see. Again, up until summer of next year is when this is supposed to close, essentially. Now, something else did crop up from this. I forget where this link came from, but effectively the gaming, it was the union of dude, I don't remember what it was. I did have the article pulled up, but I wasn't gonna really bring it up. Oh wait, hold on, hold. Maybe I do have it up. Maybe I don't. Oh, maybe I do. Yeah, put out a statement. Here we go. The Workers CWA, Communication Workers of America, United Video Game Workers CWA statement on proposed electronic arts buyout. They're raising up the issue that this particular buyout is going to result in studio closures and job loss and all sorts of stuff. And it's just like, obviously. And naturally, they are against this acquisition. They don't want it to happen. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the private sector, when it comes to the private sector, these type of things usually happen, and it has to deal more or less with the finances. And if people get cut, people get cut. The very nice thing I've noticed, at least from the cuts from the gaming market, and you guys maybe might correct me in the comments, more people that typically go in and out of companies in the gaming market, some start doing their own thing, make their own studio, get in with a bunch of coworkers that they've met in the past, or move on to other studios. It all depends. And then you create an indie studio, and then you just build it up from there. There's a good natural, what would you call it? Cycle of life, more or less, when it comes to businesses. If businesses were allowed more often than not to fail and die and start over, we would see probably significant improvement in not only the job market, but in the quality of the services and products that we get in the markets. Businesses are not meant to last for decades, if not hundreds of years. They do go up, they do have a peak, and then they eventually die. And when they die, bankruptcy and whatnot, people figure out what went wrong, what went right, and then you just go from there. Nothing is supposed to be the same thing over and over again. It's supposed to not really be volatile all the time. There is a period where it's pretty stable, I would say. Like, they're just any corporation you can find out there is just like, yep, this is doing pretty well. This is doing pretty well. We keep improving, getting better and getting better. They're quite literally, milking the cow for all of its worth until the milk eventually runs out. Like, it just has to eventually run out. You don't just take another cow, inject the milk into that first cow, and be like, hey, there's still milk coming out of it. No. Eventually it's going to get old. Eventually it's going to die, and you got to move on. So for the union to come in here and be like, we don't want this to happen, granted, it's still up in the air whether or not it's going to happen. If EA needs to die, then EA needs to die, and all these people are going to lose their jobs anyway, but new things and new opportunities are going to come out and rise from the ashes in a very Phoenix sort of fashion. So, I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think so far about this EA acquisition, about the potential issues that the Saudi Arabian government might pose on the gaming market as a whole, and whether or not they might push whatever through gaming narratives and stuff like that. Total possibility they might just take a backseat and just be a financial investor into it, and that's about it. It's going to be up in the air from here. It's going to be remain to be seen. And there's going to be risks. There's going to be issues. There's pros. There's cons. Gaming market. No different than any other market, but still things that happen. So we're going to have to wait and see what the U.S. government's going to do on this. But with that, dudes, that's going to be the end of the video. If you guys liked the video, be sure to give it a like. I would greatly appreciate it. It always helps out. Watch time, posting comments, all that stuff. Sub to the channel if you guys are new. I would greatly appreciate it. Love to see you guys come back and watch any other videos that we posted, as well as hop on the streams Saturday morning, 9 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. We drop videos Monday through Friday at about 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't know whether or not there's going to be a video tomorrow. The wife and I are working in potentially off hours that might overlap our normal upload time. If that's the case, no video tomorrow, or there might be a video tomorrow. We'll find out. But we should be streaming Saturday morning coming up very soon. So I will see you guys all there, whatever we're playing. I have no idea. We'll find out. But with that, dudes, I'm out of here. You guys have a good rest of your day. Until tomorrow or Saturday. I will see you guys later.